Good morning. All right, top of the range. Some of these sectors actually got out of the top of the range, and they closed above it. And so now that they've done that, is this a bear trap since it's in a downtrend? Well, it's a little different this time. What's different about it? Well, that day was a red bar ignored. So there was a correction day, prior to moving up here. Um, so that's one good part, or point for the bullish side. There is a void to move up here. So it has the potential to move up. There's this unfilled gap, which could be a target area. Right now, things are pretty well flattish. Just moving my cursor here. Let's get the red thing out of the way and throw it up here. Let's just see where my cursor is. It was a little higher. Look at the daily chart. So the spiders moved up almost exactly to the pivot high. Jake, what are you doing on there? YouTube? Instead of the room? What are you doing? So stuck at 391-ish. All right. So just seeing where it stopped there. Right there. And it gives me an idea where SPX is. And you can see this is where it ended last night, where it just pushed above that pivot. And so overnight, you can see it just moved right up to that was like a little bear trap, right? Well, I guess not a little one. That one kind of hurt like hell if you bought that breakout in the morning where it popped above there and then came all the way back down to that support. So it's been in this, you can see that trading range that's been going on since that day. So, the way it ran up yesterday was pretty much a direct, straight up move looking at the hourly chart, meaning it never broke a prior bar's low. You can see the 15-minute chart. Only one pivot here at the end of the day, only one pivot low, which means the momentum or the strength was so strong that it never retraced on this time frame to pivot, which is an indication of strength. So, the 5-minute, you can see, during the day there were pivots, but as it came down to pivots, buyers stepped up there again. Over here in the afternoon, there was a little momentary. Move that over. Sometimes it's freaking stubborn. It doesn't want to move anyway. You can see it dip down a little bit more, and so on. So overall, it was quite a buyer's day, and pushing it right up into this resistance area. And so now we see what it does. Futures down a little bit, not a big deal. Up at the top of the range there. And maybe, just, the pattern that pops up is what could happen here was a consolidation day, wide range bar day, inside day, top of the range. And if it can do that, kind of, there's nothing in the middle. Well, let's just put it this way: minor support. In reality, there's nothing to the left. This is a good lesson for that, because while this will be used by virtually anyone looking at a chart that knows very basic technical analysis concepts, will say, oh, well, there's minor support. Well, over here, it's the top of that red bar, but traded below, traded back above. Is it meaningful? Well, it could be as what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy. There'll be enough buyers that'll use that as a reference point. But ideally, it'll chop around up here, go sideways, right? Will be the most bullish thing it could do, right? After a momentum move. We call that creating support. That means that it'll pivot. As this pulls back, this bar, 3 bars to the right, could become a pivot bar, and that becomes support. And then on any little pullbacks, that would be used as a reference point where buyers would show up. So it'll be a couple hours before, well, actually about 3 hours, because you can see here, That bar just started. So it'll take 3 hours. And round numbers, I guess you're talking about 4,000, which should be a pretty, well, 3,900 is a round number. So it got through that. And so pullbacks to that area, which is aligned with that. Thank you, McGraw, for reminding me of that. Sometimes I forget my own things, but yeah. 3,900 round number, subjective reference point. Even if it pivots, it could pull back a little further. And so that's the analysis today, is just to see, the ideal scenario would be any dips coming down toward this area would hold. And so that leads us to, SPX, and say, okay, well, there's the support. Can we get down below it? So just looking at that. Now that pattern, which won't be exactly like that, see what I mean? It's got this low down here because it doesn't have the overnight data. So 3,900 on SPX. Can it hold there? There's the minor support. 3,870 is kind of the middle of nothingness. Below that, right? There's really nothing there. So levels, initially I had written down 39.35. I was surprised there was juice down there. So there's the unfilled gap. And actually I don't use this for this, but where did I put it? They've got the worst setup for an options chain, I'll tell you. I got to take symbols out of here. There was color coded. I can't color code this for, but anyway, we could use it pre-market to just see where things are at. And I just had them turn this on yesterday. 39.45. That's juicy. Bid ask 80 by 85, 38.40-ish. So surprisingly, there's plenty of premium down here. And the last thing this thing should do after yesterday is go down below yesterday's low. It goes down below yesterday's low, put a fork in it, it's done. And but that shouldn't happen. Of course, that's what a shock bar is all about, what's not supposed to happen. So, strikes down below yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is 38.60 and some change, right? You can see it right there. That's what these numbers are. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. That was the difference between the bars. And that's the day before, right? The bottom number is the day before. So 38.16 is the day before down here. Right? You get 38.16. There's, if things start to drop, if there's nothing here now, right, at 15 or 20, if things were to start selling off at the open, you could look there. And so open interest, 38.50 is always going to have. I mean, that's not huge. You got to really go out to the end of the month to really find the big open interest numbers. Yeah. So it's unlikely it gets through that whole number there. Looking at 4,000, and over here 75 by 85. Ideally we'd get on the other side of that, which not terrible. 75. You can see that's tighter, and then you get over here. It gets a little more spready. But if it starts to move up there, there'll be more activity. And look at that. Look, I don't know if that right. I can look on my other system. 38.05. Let me see. That's not reporting. That's not reporting the correct open interest. This shows no open interest there. So I'm not even trusting this platform yet. Just put it there so we could watch. Actually, it's 4,000 is pretty big and just above that. So I don't know why they're not reporting that. But anyway, if the markets move up, just for good measure, we can get some juice there at above 4,000. Yeah. A lot of them move to zero volume on the open. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Let's see other markets, what they're doing. NASDAQ's down a little bit. No big deal. Right at the top of the range. See the pivots up there. So, can it do some bullish price action here? Come pulling back to that area, give or take. So that's how we measure bar by bar. So bar by bar is based, okay, what is that bar? What is the prior bars? What should it not do? Well, it should not go down to the bottom of a big green bar, right? Yes, McFly, it shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? If it does pull back, so one of our rules is, look, if it does pull back and say this dips down big, down to the 50 MA, we want the open and close, the body to be in the upper third, right? Ideally in the upper third, definitely the upper half, but tails can go down there, but it's got to retrace right back up. And if it does that, then it's a buy above that bar's high. So we'll see. We'll see. Dow. I tend to agree with you, McGraw. This market has been a lot of short-term one-day wonders like this, or this one. So this dipped down. This was where it was initially going down, from this move. So what the hell? Well, my monitor just shut off and came back on. This was trending down when it came down here, whereas this was going sideways, and building this little shelf of support there when it pivoted and it broke the low. But now it's come up, to this pivot high. That's where we say the heavy lifting starts, and it's, it created this void. So if buyers don't step up, similar to here, this created a void and it created support, and then it started its way back up again. So, this opens up, the door is open to falling all the way back. That's just what should not happen. All right. Yesterday I said the Russell had good potential. It moved up nicely and actually cleared. It cleared those prior pivot highs on a closing basis. But, I view it as, why do you get a number 2 bar after a wide range 1 bar? Because it's tired. In a sense, it's tired. The point is, the real point is that traders now become skeptical to buy at higher prices. And so as there are attempts to pull back, buyers step in at higher levels at subjective reference points, like minor support, like whole numbers. Some Fibonacci aficionado will draw magic lines, connecting dots, and, or they'll have overlapping fibs, right? Draw from here to here, draw from here to here, draw from here to here, and then draw some trend lines. Some line will catch it somewhere along the way, right? We're looking to see if it creates a pivot. And so everything that we look at encompasses whatever you're looking at that we're not. Somebody's going to have to step up and buy somewhere to create a pivot. Bitcoin looking pretty decent, right? Held that low. It cleared the pivot. It's got room to move up. Maybe the 50 MA. This is one of the saving things of this market right now. That's why I've been saying, keep an eye on it. And so this was something yesterday that said, hey, you know what? This market could have some legs to keep going. Crude oil, it's at resistance. So consolidating here a little bit. It is on some major support down here on the weekly time frame. It hasn't. So while this has broken down, this is now in a sideways trading range, and it came off of the low pretty darn good. Let's see what happens. Silver not doing too much, but that breakdown bar failure is still in play. And buyer stepping up here, coming up to pivots. Doesn't really interest me much. And gold doing nothing. So the euro come up off of this low here, which is another thing that is assisting this market. It came down here and just about tagged parity with the dollar. Right? Just maybe it right just about got there. So technically, it bounced up from there after getting pounded down, and we see the dollar here pulling back within its uptrend. So don't forget the 3-month yield continues to push higher, saying, Mr. Powell, how much pain do you want? But see, Mr. Powell really doesn't care about the pain that he inflicts on us or anybody else. It's just what the Fed does, takes their sweet ass time. But look, as you've all heard, if you watch the news, they're between a rock and a hard place. They can stop this inflation any moment they want. All they got to do is raise Fed funds rate 2 points, right? Everything will come to a screeching halt. The economy will crash and inflation will be under control, but they're not going to do that. Anyway, that's where we're at. We start this day with, good signs everywhere where you can have some counter trend moves. We'll see how far they get. Yes, Tony. So Bitcoin has had a correlation with the broader markets since last November. We've talked about that a whole bunch, on the way. So if you go back and look here at around November 8th, 10th or so, you'll see a lot of tops happened at that point where Bitcoin made this accelerated move and then started the way down. So yeah, that's one of the pluses for the market. All right, to you, Daniel.
Yeah, we've been trading some of the Bitcoin individual stocks, doing well, and started nibbling on some marijuana stuff also, like MSOS. I actually, hey Greg, this has never happened before. I'm trying to share my screen and it keeps reverting back to yours. So it's not letting me change it. It like tries to, and then a half a second later takes it back. Are you there?
Yeah, they're making changes. They didn't say anything. Try it now.
No, same.
Okay. It won't let you show. All right, let's do it like this. Try it now.
Nope. As you can see, it starts to and then just abort.
Actually, I really don't see anything, but well, I don't know. Tell me what you want me to bring up and I'll bring it up.
Oh no, we can't operate the morning like that.
Well, no, you may have to drop out. I made you the host and I don't know why you can't share.
Okay.
Right now, I stopped sharing.
All right, that worked.
Ridiculous.
So it didn't let me take over. All right, whatever. Yeah, there's been weird lately. All right, we're very heavily bullish on longs and naked puts and put spreads all over the place. I've been bullish ever since this PPI gap reversal last Friday. I've been bullish all week long, including yesterday over the red bar. Gonna stay that way until I'm not. Yeah, we did naked puts on Netflix yesterday. It's a beautiful buy. We spent 10 minutes talking about the trade, so good job whoever did it. I just posted a couple new things. Look at this B-Fly wide range breakout. Look at this weekly. This weekly, well, I don't know where the target is, but whatever. It's a good little daily weekly. Hive, this is another bottoming Bitcoin. high. I had to look up what it was, but let's put that on the list. We got into Hut. Bottoming looks great. We're up a huge percent now. Mara, we've been selling put spreads. Wish I had a directional in retrospect. Look at that beautiful move. Man, it's still going. UNG, there's the EU's asking Europe to cut demand. And so I just see if there's, I'm a trader, I just look for tradable pattern. RVMD, now this was a bullish breakout, closing breakout until today. I think it, I don't know if it was earnings or what, but now it's gapped in the 21. So that's a shock. That's a shock gap. That could be a call spread if it doesn't bounce. UNH, I tried to put on a put spread yesterday. I didn't get filled. I'll keep an eye on it this morning. I see it bobbling around up and down here. SDIG, another bottoming pattern, gapping up too much though, but that's a bottoming pattern. You know, stabilized, got above the 20, a wide range closing, breakout, price void. Oh, the ARC lady. The journal said the ARC lady is shutting down their transparency fund. What a ridiculous idea. Their marketing people must have been pretty darn bored to come up with that one, in my opinion. And so I went to see if there was a symbol. I wanted to see what it looked like, but it's not public. I think the journal said they only got like 14 million in it, which is absolutely nothing for an ARC lady. But when I was scanning the ARC funds on TC2000, I picked up this one, ARC R. This one, there's not much volume, but this is restaurants. That's a bull 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. Target 21. I guess personally don't trade things out of liquid, so I'm not. I got no interest, but it's a 1, 2, 3 on daily, weekly. And I was looking at ARCF just since I was there. It's a bottoming pattern. Let's keep an eye on this. Oh, McGraw, you know what? You might be right, McGraw. Okay, you might be right. All right, thanks. All right, so it's moot anyway. I'm not going to watch it. Okay, but was I right to say her transparency fund is not public because it's too small? Yeah, ASML getting down. I think it was earnings. A possible call spread candidate. OMC, that was a beautiful bottoming pattern, but now gapping up too much. I posted NDAC. Lovely, lovely, lovely bottoming pattern, breakout daily, weekly. I was looking to short puts on this into earnings yesterday, but the 140s is what I wanted, and there was not enough juice. But now that earnings are out, McGraw, provided it is gapping up here and takes out 5, 10, whatever minute high, we can do the 150s or 145s for put spread. I gave 30-minute high for directional. Here's another one. It's almost identical. You know, Greg says same but different. Bobbling around, got above the 2050, red bar ignored, closing breakout, bullish weekly with a price void. I mean, both of these look fantastic. And so I can't tell where it's gapping on earnings, so I gave that as a 30-minute high also. I just had my Affirm alarm go off. That's a nice little perk. Here's another one where long stock as a bottoming pattern. I mean, can you imagine if this is a home run entry? 180 down to 20. And we entered right in this bull flag. Right here, folks, is where we entered. July 15. Little bull flag. We nailed that entry. And we also sold puts on it. So we had 2 trades. Let me set a new up alarm. and down alarm. But yeah, that looks fantastic. So 28. Oh, bib. Bib. I said yesterday, I love this weekly launching pad, and we didn't do anything because it had earnings. Now it's gapping down to yesterday's low. So that's fine. Set an alarm at 221. If it gets there, then it'll be gap down ignored. If it doesn't get there, then we don't care about it. Hey, McGraw, I don't know if you were here. My W whiskey alarm just went off. I sold naked puts on this yesterday. I think it was too spready, which is why I didn't give it. But you and I, we have a bigger tolerance for doing some of that, So set a new alarm. So Home Depot up alarm. We're still in a half lot of a put spread. That looks higher. Plant, we're in that up alarm. Plant looks great. Man, our inventory is doing really well. All right, so index McGraw. Let's see where these puts are on index. Wow, the 145s. Okay, so they're spready, 45 cents by 215. So McGraw, I'm gonna do $1.45. You know why? Because that was the price yesterday. If I can get yesterday's price now with a gap breakout, that would be a no friggin' brainer. I don't think I'm going to get filled. And see, now it's gonna, I got to cancel the 30-minute high because it's moving too much. I don't want a 30-minute high. But that was a beautiful setup. BMY. Hey, BMY, why there's no volume? This thing's not even open yet. This was yesterday's volume. Hey, McGraw, will you call the local Dunkin' Donuts and tell this guy to get to work?
Those in Elsit, it's coming back.
This specialist is at the donut shop. What about Elsid?
Coming back.
Yeah.
Tail ignored.
Yeah. Here's another one of my beautiful weeklies. Bottoming pattern, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're long stock and naked puts. Yep. W whiskey alarm again, McGraw. Yeah, Greg, since you're president, Biden's now talking about executive orders on climate control, declaring a state of the emergency.
Should make an order to put a plastic bag over his head.
I'm not going to touch that one. All right, so yeah, Elsid looks great. Here, B-Fly. All right, B-Fly is a go. It gapped over the entry.